Hello there. When I first started doing YouTube, I had a few questions, and when I say a few, I mean a lot. I didn't know what kind of software to use, or even the best way to use these softwares that I did end up using. So, here are the softwares that you need to get started with YouTube in late-ish 2018. So first off, you're going to need something to record, and I personally use OBS. Now, if you're going to be using a console to record games, you're going to probably need a capture card. I'm not too experienced with capturing video off of consoles, but as far as I know, you need a capture card. So here's OBS. You can get OBS by going into your web browser, or if you're on Ubuntu, you can get it in, or Ubuntu or Linux in general, you can get it on your software center. So if you search up OBS and then go to their page, you can download it for your respective OS. As I said, if you're on Linux, most of the time you can get it through your software center. So yeah, here's OBS. Now, there are a few settings that I think you should change if you're using OBS. First off, if you like this dark theme, fine, go with it. But I personally think that most Windows users and most people in general should use this default theme. It just makes it way easier to see text and stuff while you're streaming or even recording. So, yeah. If you're going to be streaming, I'm going to have a separate video for streaming in a couple of days, so stay tuned to the channel for that. So for output, as I've said, I'm going to have a video for streaming in a couple of days. So personally right now I have my recording quality set to same as stream. However, for the majority of people, I think I would recommend high quality with a medium file size. This has worked best for me in the past. However, I like a little more customization, so I prefer to leave it as same as stream. Your recording format should probably never be MP4, it should be MOV, and also make sure you're not using FLV because most video editing software, including the one I use, don't support MOV. Now, I personally recommend using the hardware encoder. The hardware encoder seems to work the best for me, and I am able to record best in general. If you want to, you can try testing with the software encoder, and I encourage it. However, personally, I've had the most luck with the hardware encoder. So, yeah, you can ignore the audio tab unless you have something that you really need to change. The settings you choose on this page kind of depend on what you're going to be doing. If you're going to be gaming and you've got a higher end gaming computer, you're probably fine to use these settings you see here, or maybe even scale it up to 60 FPS. If you're going to be doing more of a tutorial based thing, like I like to think I do on my channel, you're probably going to be just fine with this. However, if you're very focused on the file size, you can feel free to drop it down to 1280 by 720. However, if you do that, you should probably enable one of these. Personally, if I'm downscaling to 720p, I like to use Lanczos, the bottom one, the 32 samples one. And I generally record in 30 FPS, however 60 frames per second does look better for gaming, so if you have the spare processing power and storage, definitely go ahead and use 60 FPS. So yeah. So hotkeys, these aren't completely necessary, however I like to have one for recording and stopping recording. I do not have one for streaming because if I have OBS open in the background, which a lot of the time I do, I don't like accidentally being able to start the stream, which I have done in the past. I also recommend setting it to a key that you don't use very often, because if you use that key very often and you've forgotten that you have it open in the background, you may accidentally start recording or streaming, so definitely be careful with that. Your advanced tab you can ignore for now, or actually in general. So yeah, click OK, and then you are done with that step. So the next thing that you should probably have is an editing software. Actually, this isn't a probably. You need an editing software. Mostly. You don't necessarily need one, but you should probably have an editing software. So if you use Windows, the most terrible program you could use to edit is, what do they call it, video editor? Yeah, Windows has a thing called video editor now, and never use it. It's terrible. And if you do use it, stop. It's basically the Windows 10 equivalent to Windows Movie Maker, which you also shouldn't be using, because let's be honest here, it's 2018 and Windows Movie Maker was discontinued in, I believe, 2016. I might be wrong though. Maybe 2017, I don't remember for sure. So what do I recommend for video editing? Well, there are two softwares that I recommend personally. Now, my first recommendation would be DaVinci Resolve. And DaVinci Resolve is a great software, and it is constantly being updated by Blackmagic Design, the people who make it. DaVinci Resolve is probably a little more advanced than you'd like, but don't worry, it's pretty simple to use. I'll actually go over the basics of it in a bit. So you can download it from their website. If you want to try the beta, which I recommend you do, go ahead and get your selective installer. Unless you're going to pay $300 for it, which I doubt most of you would be, you want the just beta. The studio is, yeah, not for you, basically, if you're starting out. DaVinci Resolve 14 is going to be much more stable for you to use. However, I don't have very many issues with DaVinci Resolve 15. So, yeah. Now, while I recommend DaVinci Resolve, there are a few other softwares that I have used in the past that I'd like to mention. The main one is called VSDC. This I've only used once or twice, but it does work relatively good. I don't know much about it, but I have used it, and yeah, the only reason I didn't keep using it was it has an outdated design and it's really just hard to learn. So yeah, we're gonna stick with DaVinci Resolve. If you want to learn VSDC, by all means go ahead and do it. However, I am more experienced and know how to use DaVinci Resolve. So I have a bunch of tutorials up on my channel on how to use DaVinci Resolve. So if you'd like to see those, go check them out. Otherwise, there are a bunch of other great tutorials online that I personally learned from. So yeah. DaVinci Resolve is a highly advanced video editing software, and the benefit of starting out with a more advanced video editing software is you won't have to change in the future. Having to change video editing softwares quite often can be a hassle and really is a lot of work that I don't like having to do very often. So let's just choose. I haven't. Oh crap. Oh, it's the old one here. Let's grab this for now. We'll grab one. I think this is the one. Yeah, okay. So this is just a sample video that it's a recording session. So how do you trim a video in DaVinci Resolve? Well, it's quite simple, in fact. You just have to click here on this razor blade, click, and then your video is trimmed. Now you just right click here and you can click ripple delete, and it moves the video back to the most recent clip, or in our case, the very start. Oops. So yeah, it's very simple, and that's the very basics. That's all you really need to know. If you really want to know more, do go ahead and Google that. And here is actually a transition. This is one of the other things you'll want to learn. You click Effects Library, and that brings up these. Click on Video Transitions, and then... Okay, yeah, that's shut up. Anyway, just use cross dissolve or look at the others. However, cross dissolve is probably the least ridiculous one. So, yeah. Anyway, what other softwares do you need? Well, we've actually gone over most of the softwares that you really need. However, if you are looking to upload videos very fast, or you have a slow connection, I recommend another software. It's called Handbrake. You can go to their website just by Googling it, or go to this website here. So Handbrake is available for, I think, all platforms, and you can download it from this website here. Handbrake, while it may seem like a weird thing to be using, is actually a quite useful software. In fact, I need to compress this video here. It's like 26 gigabytes because it's a ridiculous bitrate. So Handbrake will actually compress your videos. Now, this can be really good if you either have slower connections or don't have a lot of hard drive space, like I currently do. I've managed to fill up a 2 terabyte hard drive in just under a year. So if you're going to do gaming videos, or if you're going to be serious about doing YouTube daily like I do, you're probably going to want to get a big hard drive or start using softwares like Handbrake from the beginning. So yeah. I've never looked at that. Holy crap, that's a lot of files. Oh, I bet you a lot of them are from the DaVinci Resolve cache. Yep. Okay. Anyway, so to use Handbrake, you simply select your preset. You can look through them and then click Start Encode, and of course choose where you want it to go, and then it will hopefully compress your file. So, yeah. Those are the real basics in terms of software that you need to start a YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it in the future, consider subscribing to the channel. If you have ideas for future videos, please comment in the description below. And as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you all next time. Goodbye. Also, comments, questions in general, comments. Bye.